things. And one of the other things that also happened this week is Dennis Itumbi was released, and not to discuss him and his case per se only, but just the justice system. And interestingly, he came out holding a book, When Breath Becomes Air. It looks like he had literally prepared for his release. He knew it was coming. But maybe Manyasi, just to get your comments on some of the things, of course, that we look at, and not to forget the fact that when he was arrested with allegations of a forged letter and, sending it out, but not clear by the time he was being released, there were no charges, and what that means, especially when you look at our judiciary system.
Yeah, and that exactly goes back to the same argument I was having initially. This imagination that our security agencies have, that they would come and pick you up with the hope that they will get something from you. You see, that do your homework. That's my argument. You don't take someone to court, take them through an ordeal of an entire week, and then release them on 100,000 shillings bail, and then create a mockery out of the whole scenario. And I think this is what this country needs to stop. The investigative agencies of this country they have been added budgets every single year. So what do they do with that money? So if you don't have enough IT guys, hire them. If you don't have enough experts, use experts out there who can assist the police service.
They got the FBI to investigate and find where the letter came from.
They don't have it yet. So this is what I'm saying. And again, that also tells you that we keep saying that we have the capacity. In some cases, we say we can't do FBI. In other cases, we say we want to do FBI. So we have a lot of double speak, even the things that we do. But however, having said that, I think to me what is worrying me is the entire allegations about the death threats. Now this is what it's going to do. Number one is that it has made the cabinet dysfunctional. Dysfunction in the sense that how do they sit in cabinet and discuss matters of this country? That is what my worry is. When there are such allegations that are leveled towards people in the same government. In the same cabinet. And so at the same time, how does the president and the deputy sit in the same sitting? And what I don't also get is Itumbi used to work for the president. And then someone made a terrible mistake of taking him to the deputy president. You see, some of the decisions that these people make,
they leave a lot to be desired.
How do you even do that?
Your thoughts on that particular incident, and also looking at generally our judicial system. I mean, I look at the headlines now, and I think you discussed it on the newspaper review. Court strikes big blow to graft war, and of course there's questions as to how they can be warning and saying that they're going to raid or ask for permission to come and raid places, but that just leaves us wondering. We are dysfunctional when it comes to our criminal system. Yeah.
Well, Kenyans don't understand the seriousness of what Itumbi is claimed to have done. Number one, if today I was to sit down and write a letter, forge a letter on behalf of Foreign Affairs, confirming Jaguar's claims, and use our CS's letterhead and name, and say that on Monday next week, all Tanzanians will be kicked out. And then I distribute it to WhatsApp groups in Tanzania. The net result of that will be a diplomatic row between Kenya and Tanzania. Now, God forbid, Itumbi does the same thing for the Minister of Defense. And he says, tomorrow we will bomb Uganda over Migingo. The seriousness of this issue is not to be taken lightly. We cannot be a country where you can take ownership of documents that are supposed to be sacred in this country and distribute them willy-nilly. It does not matter how many head of state commendations you've been given. And though we are celebrating that he's been set free, we must ask ourselves, what manner of wolf have we set free on our country? Because we must ask the question that today a kid sitting somewhere behind the computer What imaginations do they have knowing that the courts will not allow for the process to go through? Now, why do you need to put Itumbi in prison while you investigate, even if you found he's the source of that letter? You've got to find out what is the reason, what is the computer used. That kind of evidence requires a forensic audit of his phone, forensic audit of his computers. It does not take 2 days. Number two, you must protect this country from what he's about to do next. Because if he can forge a letter, what is he going to forge next? The video that we are being told is going to be shown, is it real or is it forged? Thirdly, let me address the politicians who seem to have lost all their scruples and brains and IQ altogether. Listen, if I come to Citizen newspaper, Citizen Weekly, and I write a story, a fake story, and I say Mark Bichachi about to be assassinated by Ruth Ambogo because she's in love with me, right?
Well,
and then I demand
because you have a lot of money.
Yeah.
Please.
And
Yeah,
then
any other
I
reason.
demand, and then I demand that she be investigated. Then the police check the letter and they see it is fake. What then is there to investigate? How do you want the police to investigate something
That is fake.
or on an evidence that is fake?
That is fake.
So you want to produce a fake gun and say this gun shoots no bullets, but can you check who it shot? And that's what our politicians want Kenyans to be involved in.
And unfortunately, it seems like it's we're going round in circles. But of course, my concern and the worry for many Kenyans is, what does that mean when it comes to our judicial system? What does that mean when it comes to finding evidence? What does that mean when it comes to finding those who are culpable, even where it is stark obvious in our faces that this is somebody who may be, having bad ulterior motives? Maybe just to conclude on that, Ruth Ambogo, your thoughts on, do you think that we need a total reform of, and I don't know if it's the judicial system, if it's the DCI, because when it comes to investigations, how is it that somebody is arrested, taken to court, but there seems to be no evidence that they've gathered so far?
Actually, that has been the biggest challenge of the judiciary. And I remember some very many years ago, probably more than 6 years ago, Justice Majanja said there was a time when Kenyans were really up in arms saying that the judiciary is not working. And he came up and he said that, how do you expect us to work when our work is solely based on the evidence that is brought before us? You don't expect us to prosecute and at the same time to investigate. Investigating is not our business. It is not within our mandate. So I think a lot of times, many times we tend to confuse where blame should be placed. And I don't think this is a discussion that should really involve the judiciary per se, because the laws are clear, precedence is clear. This is not a new area of law anyway. It is not a new area of law. Very many people have been prosecuted in the past for forgery of documents. This is one of those areas. I mean, this is a case that pretty much is around forgery of documents if you forget about the politics within it. So it's not a new area of law. So the judiciary has precedents to rely on. And for them, all they need is evidence. And if evidence is not presented before them, you don't expect them to work without evidence. And I think the bigger question now, moving away from the judiciary, the bigger question should be and it's a discussion we are not having right now, which trust me, if this happened, for instance, at a different time, and by a different time I mean if this happened in 2021 December or 2022 January, we would be having a totally different discussion. What kind of discussion would we be having? We'd be having a discussion of that a fake letter has been written claiming that the deputy president wants to be assassinated. And remember, at the time he would be a presidential candidate, officially on the ballot paper, running for an election. What would this translate to, politically speaking, and to the society? Kenya is a society, we are still a society whose emotions are easily whipped by anything minute and anything small. This would have led to a huge section of Kenyans who support the deputy president to go up in arms